Cyberpunk Uncensored.
Hey, what's up, Choomba? This Cyberpunk Red Crash Course tutorial is all about attachments. Let's get right into it. The first thing that you need to know is that when it comes to attachments, all weapons, all ranged weapons, I should say, have 3 slots available. And each one of these attachments is going to use up a slot on that weapon, except for, a few of these things like the grenade launcher, the shotgun underbarrel, and the smart gun link. Those are going to use 2 of those 3 slots. So keep that in mind. But I'm going to go into these details as I go into each attachment. So let's just get right into it. The first attachment is a bayonet. That's basically going to be a light melee blade on the front of your weapon. So it's going to do 1d6 damage, just like all light melee weapons. It's going to work with all non-exotic ranged weapons that fire with the shoulder arm skill. So any ranged weapons, all non-exotic ranged. Let me back up a moment. None of these attachments work with exotic weapons. So just remember that, simplify it. No exotic weapon can use one of these attachments. So the bayonet is going to work with all non-exotic ranged weapons that use the shoulder arms skill. And it's a light melee, so it's going to do 1d6 damage. And when you have this attached to your weapon, it makes it so you can't conceal it under clothing. So remember that, it can no longer be concealed. The next 2 things I want to mention together, which is the drum magazine and the extended magazine. Both of these are going to make it so your weapon can not be concealed. They're going to work with all non-exotic ranged weapons except for bows and crossbows. Okay? And it works like this. So you have a regular clip. The extended clip, the extended magazine is basically going to give you more rounds in your clip. And the drum magazine is going to give you even more rounds in your clip. So it's like you got your regular, you got your extended magazine, and then you've got your drum magazine. And I'm going to show you the chart in just a moment that breaks down, how many bullets in each clip based on if it's a normal clip, an extended magazine, or a drum magazine. But just remember that if you're using those, your weapon can no longer be concealed, and it works with all non-exotic ranged weapons except for bows and crossbows. The next thing here on the chart that you can see is the grenade launcher underbarrel. Now that, just like the shotgun underbarrel, it's going to work with all non-exotic ranged weapons fired with shoulder arms. But with the grenade launcher, it's going to use 2 attachment slots, just like the shotgun underbarrel. And you're only going to have 1 grenade in your clip. So keep that in mind. And it's going to require 2 arms. So when you use the grenade launcher, with 2 arms, you basically have 1 grenade in the clip. Okay? And it's going to work with non-exotic ranged weapons that fire using the shoulder arms skill. And you can't conceal the weapon when you have a grenade launcher underbarrel on there. So remember that. The next thing on the list here is infrared night vision scope. This one's pretty cool and it's interesting. It works with all non-exotic ranged weapons. When you have this on and you use it, it basically takes any negative penalties, due to smoke, fog, darkness, any of those sort of visual things that, cause negative modifiers to your attack, right? It's going to take all those and reduce it to 0. So if you have infrared night vision, all those negative mods that come from all those, visual negative modifiers or whatever, like fog and smoke and darkness and all that stuff, it's basically going to null all that. It's going to take all those negatives, -2, -4, whatever they are, down to 0. So that's a really great bonus to help you out. The other thing too is it can definitely tell you, help you differentiate, meat from cold. So like you can see like a person that's made of meat versus which limbs are made from cybernetics. You're not going to be able to see details. You can't tell exactly what brand of cybernetic arm they have and like what hidden weapons might be in it and details, but you can definitely tell like, hey, that guy over there, he has a cybernetic arm. I can see his arm looks colder than the rest of his body. So you can see how that can be very helpful. The next thing that's on the list is shotgun underbarrel, and like I said, it works just like the grenade underbarrel in the sense that it takes 2 attachment slots. It makes it so your weapon can't be concealed. In this case, in that clip, and again, just like the grenade launcher, it's going to require 2 hands to use it. But the shotgun underbarrel, it's going to have basically two shots in your clip. So keep that in mind too. And it works with all non-exotic ranged weapons that are fired using the shoulder arms skill. Just like the grenade launcher and shotgun underbarrel, they work very, very similar in that sense. The next thing on the list here is the Smart Gun Link. Now that works with all non-exotic ranged weapons. However, you got to make sure that you have your neural link or your subdermal grip, because it's a smart gun link and it's not going to work unless you have the proper connections to make that smart gun work. So, if you're going to put the attachment, and remember, smart gun link, just like the grenade launcher and the shotgun underbarrel, they require 2 attachment slots. So smart gun link requires 2 attachment slots. Remember that. But you have to have the neural link or the subdermal grip, and then that'll allow you to use it, and you basically get a +1 to all your ranged attacks when you're using this, because it's now a smart gun and you're using smart gun attack. So you get that +1. The other thing to remember is that it doesn't require an action, to unplug it or plug it in. If someone grabs that smart gun weapon, or you're using a regular weapon and all of a sudden you want to switch to a smart gun and plug in your interface plugs or whatever, because don't forget, you need interface plugs, you need your neural link or your subdermal grip. But it's not going to require an action to plug them in or take them out unless you're already using your interface plugs on something else. So like if your interface plugs are being used in a vehicle or a different smart gun and you want to switch to a different one, then it's going to require an action. Otherwise, you can just, if it gets yanked out, they unplug, you can plug them into a new one fast. They're just made to go quick, so it's not going to require an action unless they're already being used. So remember that. But it's very useful because, as you know, when it comes to attacks, every little bonus helps. And man, if you can get a +1 there on top of all your other bonuses that you can get from other things, it can really start helping you out with aimed shots and ranged attacks. So keep that in mind. The next thing on this list is a Sniping Scope. Now, the way that this works is, first off, it works with all non-exotic ranged weapons. So remember that. But the way that this works is that you basically can see detail up to 800 meters. And then when attacking anything, a target 51 meters or further away, you're basically going to get a +1 to any single shot firing mode or aimed shot. So, man, again, to me, I feel that, if you're a soul, you're somebody into attacking and battle and combat, and you're a combat heavy character, you definitely want to get your your neural link, your interface plugs, or your subdermal grip if you don't want a neural link, but get your smart gun link going, get your sniping scope going, get your targeting scope, and keep in mind that teleoptic cyberware doesn't stack with sniping scope, but man, you can get your targeting scope or sniping scope. You can stack it with your smart gun link. You can get a good quality weapon, not average or poor, and get your bonus there as well. So man, you can really start stacking up these bonuses and making better attacks. So that's how a sniping scope works. Just remember which weapons that it can work with, all non-exotic ranged weapons. And don't forget that, all of these weapons have their own little details. Like I said, drum magazine, extended magazine, they're not going to work with bows and crossbows. Remember that, bayonet and grenade launcher underbarrel, your shotgun underbarrel, all those, are going to work with your ranged shoulder arms, skilled weapons. And then remember also that, when it comes to smart gun link, that you need your interface plugs, but you can either use your neural link or your subdermal grip. And that kind of summarizes the little details with what, how these work. But make sure you check out the Cyberpunk Red Core rulebook and you read all the details. Make sure you don't miss anything, really drive it home, and remember this, because like I said, each one of these has their own little details on how they work and which weapons that they'll work with. So all those little details you don't want to miss. So make sure you check out the details in the rulebook. The next chart that I wanted to show that has to do with the clip size and the bullets, you can see here, it's the clip chart. And they just basically have this laid out with the type of weapon, the standard amount of bullets that are going to be in a clip, the extended, or the drum. So just like I explained earlier how you can get an extended magazine or a drum magazine, this is basically how many bullets that they're going to hold. And you can see, man, that can really help you out. You know, if you're working with a submachine gun or a rifle, you definitely want that drum if you're going to be heavy into auto fire or suppressive fire, because you're going to be using bullets 10 at a time when you do those types of attacks. So you can see how these extended and drum magazines can really help. But anyways, that's how you read that chart. Super simple. I hope this video was just short and sweet and simple. Like I said, just check out the actual rule book, read it for yourself, get all those details, and use this video just to kind of help you drive it home and help explain it. But yeah, hopefully it was helpful. If it was, make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to Cyberpunk Uncensored on both YouTube and Twitch, and don't miss any of the live streams, the crash course tutorials, the Game Master tips, just all the content that we're kicking out almost every day. We would love your support and love to see you around. So, all right, take care. I'll see you next time.